Welcome back. You watch your Morning Live, and this morning I'm privileged to be in the company of three gentlemen, one from the Department of Trade and Industry, a psychologist, and a recovering alcoholic in studio with me, talking about a government's new intervention. And as I think Mr. Ntsintenze was saying, that it really is one of the interventions, is unfortunately one of the ones we're focusing on. We continue our discussion on whether our government's effort to increase the drinking age limit from 18 years to 21 years will yield the positive impact it hopes to achieve. Currently, the Department of Trade and Industry has issued the National Liquor Amendment Bill for public comment. Let's have a look at what the MD of Alcohol Save, Rhys Evans, had to say about this and other alcohol-related issues when he spoke to Morning Live earlier this week. Then we'll continue with our panel.
We've got the highest drinking rates in Africa. According to the World Health Organization, we're about twice the average for the rest of Africa. So it's high. Compared to the rest of the world, apparently we're about between 28 and 29 on the amount of alcohol that we drink here. But in Africa, we're the highest. I think that's followed by Nigeria. They're the second highest, but we're definitely the highest. And according to the World Health Organization, as I said, twice the average for the rest of Africa. The age limit is a good thing. We can only compare it to countries where they've got it. So in the States, they increased the drink driving legal age to 21. It was about 1976. And since then, they've estimated that they've saved about 21,000 lives of youth just from increasing that age. So again, a comparison, New Zealand recently, they took their drink driving age down from 21 to 18. And since that time, between 18 and 19-year-olds, they've had about a 14% increase in road-related deaths because of alcohol. And that was by reducing their drink driving age. So drinking age, legal drinking age, it can be a good thing if you increase it, but it's not going to help at all unless it's monitored. So if they just keep selling to underage people, what difference is it going to make? In South Africa, we have two different drink driving limits. We have a professional driver's limit, so that's someone with a PDP license. They drive a bus or a truck, a taxi, something that's seen to be a higher risk. So a professional driving permit, their limit is 0.1 milligrams per litre. And then we have the private driver's limit. That's like me and you driving home or driving to work, driving back from work. Our limit's a little bit higher. It's 0.24 milligrams per litre.
And what's that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it all depends on a person's body weight. So the bigger you are, the more space you have for that alcohol to sort of dilute inside of you. So what we want to know is the blood alcohol concentration of that person. So if you're quite big, you can dilute it, the concentration will be lower. If you're small, the concentration will be higher for the same amount. So an average person weighing about 75 kilograms, for me to reach the drink driving limit at that weight, I need to have about 2.5 beers. Normal beers, not quarts. People love to think a quart is one beer, but a quart is quite a big beer. So a 1 quart is about 2.25 already. So just over a quart, and you're already at that drink driving limit.
Let me quickly touch on, Ronnie, what Rhys was talking about, the fact that people think a quart is one beer. In actual fact, it's two and a bit beers.
2 and a bit, yeah.
And I think Mr. Ntsintenze was talking about education. How important is the role of education, very, very quickly, especially amongst those that have already have gone down this unfortunate path?
I think it's very important that they must be educated to know of the dangers of the consuming of the alcohol.
Let's keep our answers very, very short. I also want to very quickly touch on something that we talked during the break. I'm just going to go off script very quickly. One of the big debates amongst my friends and circles and people have come across that we've extensively talked about is a lot of parents think that it's okay to introduce your child to alcohol at an early age because there's an idea that if I introduce my son or daughter to alcohol in a home environment where it's safe, it won't be distracted when it's introduced to alcohol for the first time around the age of 18. Sir, your opinion on something like that? I'll come back to Ronnie.
Yes.
Let's go to Mitch very quickly.
Yeah, my view is that exposure or the environment as a whole is very influencing to how you bring up your children. But it's not a right that everybody should go and drink. So therefore, why are we introducing our children at a young age as if it's a right that they will pass through? So my view is to frustrate all this predisposition and then leave them as they are. And then if they are exposed at school, then you deal with certain interventions as a parents, education, genetic issues, diseases, mouth cancer, all those issues. Then they will They will learn as they go by, not to introduce it. It's like the fetal syndrome. When pregnant women are drinking, the babies are affected. So we are saying it's better to introduce it when they are still pregnant, before the babies are born. No, predisposition is out.
Okay, so Mr. Nichitendra is against it. Mr. Rob, you get that question a lot, very quickly.
I do. And I don't think there's a right and a wrong answer. I think what is more important is children don't necessarily do what their parents say. They do what their parents do. So what parents are doing is modeling a behavior for their children. So if their parents can moderate their alcohol use, let's say they have a glass of wine with a meal, and they introduce their children and say, well, look, you can have a little bit of wine. And their children know that their parents are moderating their use, they're drinking responsibly. That is far more important than saying, well, yes, you need to taste and you need to drink in a protected environment. That, I don't think, is the issue. Kids will go out and they'll drink in their environment, and they'll drink more. They'll binge drink with their friends.
Okay. Ronnie, very quickly.
It's... The thing too is the intake of the alcohol. The people that eventually get to where they are drinking too much, if you want to put it that way, they are not drinking for the taste. They're drinking for the feeling, what it does to the system. And that's why I think by letting the children drink at a young age, it's out.
Okay. So two against and one, because you're a little bit of a psychologist.
Because
you're a psychologist, so you got to give the middle road.
Because it can lead to that they do eventually.
But Ronnie, there's an argument, my child is going to drink anyway, so let me rather educate him now because he's going to. Should we be teaching children how to deal with peer pressure as opposed to going along and be a sheep?
But you can teach your child. You can teach your child when he's young, but you don't have to give him the substance to teach him.
Yes.
Mitch?
Correct.
Yes.
Peer pressure.
Peer
Should we be teaching our children how to deal with peer pressure?
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's all got to do with an attitude that an individual has. Putting the age limit up to 21 is good because it sends a very real message. But ultimately, it'll come down to an individual who's got to choose.
For sure.
Yes.
I want to give the last 30 seconds to Mr. Nichitendra from the DTI. Quickly, 30 seconds. Let's talk about the how you're going to introduce this after the close for public opinion. You've got 45 days. What then happens?
Then it goes back to cabinet after we've analyzed it, and then cabinet says we agree or we don't agree. Probably they will agree with our proposal. Thereafter it goes to parliament, public hearings in parliament. Thereafter it is concluded in parliament and then it goes to the presidency. The president signs it as an act.
Okay.
And then we go for regulations, putting structures in place, mobilizing the enforcement agencies.
And educating everyone.
Yeah, and educating agencies like the municipality, the bylaws, the provincial, the inspectorates, and then the police and the other agencies in order to enforce the act.
Because I think that's going to be the key after you change that. So thank you very much, all three gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me. It's just gone 1 after 8. I know Lebo is standing by with your news. The way in on this conversation for us very quickly, it's at Morning Live SABC on Twitter. Let us know what you think. Over to you, Lebo.